Back with Karen Wellman from Dynamic Metals. Karen, morning.
Morning, Andrew.
Got some news from you here on the Lindsays Project. We haven't spoken too much about it previously. Give us some background and tell us a bit about where it is.
Yeah, that's right. We haven't spoken about our Lindsays project before. That's because it falls into what we call our generative WA exploration portfolio. So when we listed 18 months ago, we started off with three key projects that we were focusing on. Our Widgiemooltha project down near Kalgoorlie, our Lake Percy project out at Lake Johnson, and our Deep Well project up in Meekatharra. So that was the three main sort of buckets, we call them. The fourth one was our generative portfolio, where we're starting to build up land positions, knowing that, as we work our way through the portfolio, you want to have something else that's coming in the background. So Lindsay's is one of those projects. We've been progressing some of those tenements to grant over the last year. So we now have about 300 square k's of granted exploration ground. Lindsay's is located about 60 kilometres northeast of Kalgoorlie. So we're still in, a pretty reasonable area, surrounded by plenty of infrastructure and support. We have some fantastic exploration neighbours. Next door to us is Great Boulder with their Whiteheads project just to the west. And there's a few small gold mines in the area, historically mined at Mayday and in Jadalby. So, it's a pretty nice little location that we've got.
And so you've done some desktop studies and you've identified some interesting gold and lithium areas of interest here.
Yeah, we have. So, when you're operating in Western Australia, particularly sort of within close proximity to a town like Kalgoorlie, you know that there has been generally exposure to exploration in the past. So, but what we like to do at Dynamic is sort of take the blinkers off and have another look at the ground with a bit more of an open mind. We look at all the data there is available that has been collated in the past, and that sort of is what our desktop studies are all about, pulling that all together. And coming up with some target ideas, and then we rank them and decide which ones are worth following up. So while we're doing this, we're often thinking about several commodities. So, we'll generally be considering gold, base metals, and lithium are our go-to at the moment. So gold is a real area of interest for us. There's been some exploration for that in the past in this project. There's some broad spaced air core drilling that was done by Northern Star, but those holes are about 400 metres apart on lines which are 3 kilometres apart. So for us, we think this gives us a lot of wiggle room to still find some anomalies. It's very broad still. So from that assessment, we first generated 36 targets, and we've narrowed that down to about 18 gold targets that we've decided need some follow-up field work. So first pass field work will be mapping, rock chip sampling, and soil sampling sort of programs, and that's what we look to do there.
And of course, Karen, fully funded for this work due to the MinRes deal announced a bit earlier this year. Just give us a quick recap on the agreement.
Yeah, so our deal that we signed with Mineral Resources earlier this year was based on the lithium potential at Widgiemooltha project. So we sold 40% of the lithium rights in that project area in exchange for $5 million cash. And then MinRes are committed to spend $15 million over the next 4 years to build that interest up to 65%. So that does mean we're funded to continue to work on these other projects. And speaking of the lithium, I forgot to mention that we had done some lithium targeting work on this as well. It was quite interesting. So up in the northern part of the tenement package, there were some log pegmatites in those Northern Star air core holes. And the multi-element pathfinder information that we get at the bottom of those drill holes gave us indications that those pegmatites are potentially fractionated. So it's worthwhile us going back up there and having a look at that too, because historically that area is definitely one which has not been exposed to the lithium thematic in the past. So yeah, all quite good information.
And just on Widgiemooltha, Karen, you were there on site this week, taking some interesting pictures. How's it looking out there?
Yeah, Widgiemooltha is looking great. So, we have sold the lithium rights, and now we're focusing our attention on the gold potential. As mentioned, we've sort of been systematically working through our portfolio to ensure that we are putting our best foot forward in terms of testing our drill targets. So it has been a little bit time consuming while we go through all the historic data and do target generation work. But what we need to do with all of our projects, our active projects that we've got, is bring those drill targets together and determine which one's going to give us bang for buck on our next drill program. So yeah, the team's been out there at Widgie at the moment and hoping to put some news out to the market in the near future. But yeah, in terms of the bush is looking really good and healthy out there right now. I think we'll be quite excited. It's always nice to get out in the field again.
Well, look, you mentioned some near-term news coming from Widgiemooltha. Any other news that we can expect shortly from some of these other projects?
We have some more tenements which should be getting granted coming through our portfolio in the next quarter as well. So we will let the market know as these packages come online. So what we try to do is start working up that target generation work before they get granted. So once they're in our hands, we can inform the market a bit more what our plans are on those ones.
Well, certainly plenty happening. Karen, give me a couple of reasons here why you would encourage investors to look a bit closer at Dynamic.
Well, as I say, dynamic by name, dynamic by nature. You know, we have an extensive exploration ground across Western Australia where we've got prospectivity for multiple commodities. They're demonstrating potential in these regions that we're working with, you know, million-ounce deposits in the areas. So, you know, we're quite excited by what we have. We've got the money to keep exploring. So, yeah, that's why you should take another look at us.
Good to see you, Karen. Thanks very much.
No worries. Thanks, Andrew.